Estate planning isn't just something for the wealthy. It's really for anyone who wants to avoid probate, provide for their children, and make things easier for their family. Joining me now to learn more about how you can take control of your future is attorney at law, Burke Williamson. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Nicole.
All right, so what do you find is the biggest mistake when people go ahead and say, I want to start estate planning?
Yeah, great question. I think a few come to my mind. The first one is procrastination. I think most people have good intentions. They want to do this, but life has unexpected realities and they often just don't get to it. I think the best time to create a plan is before you need it. I think another one that comes to my mind is people rely too much on joint ownership or joint tenancy. And so we often see this where it works for the first property owner. When they die, we get to avoid probate. But when that second spouse or property owner dies, we're back in probate. Or again, sometimes I see a parent wanting to add their child on as a joint tenant to their property. And this has big mistakes because there's tax implications, but also now the parent has exposed their property to the creditors of their child. So two really big ones. And I would say the final mistake that I often see is having an outdated plan. Estate planning is not a one-time event, it's a process. And so I think that if life has changed for you, if there's been death, divorce, child birth, or if you've moved to a new state, it's probably a good time to look at your plan to make sure it still meets your goals and you haven't left any of your assets out of your trust.
Good stuff to know, because I guess I thought it was the one-time thing, but it's good to know that I probably should update it every time something in my life updates as well. So let's talk about the myths that come with estate planning. What are some of those?
Yeah. The first that comes to my mind is people often think, I'm not wealthy, I don't need an estate plan, or I don't have an estate. But estate planning is not just about the money. It's about making sure that your assets, your hard-earned assets, your home, your bank account, it goes to the right people at the right time and in the most efficient way possible. I think another myth is people often think, I have a will, I'm good. Well, a will is a good document to have, but it doesn't avoid probate. So perhaps revisiting your estate plan might help you find some new efficiencies.
And where do we begin with this? What's the simplest action step someone can take to really start this?
Yeah, start with just having conversations. Start with having conversations in your own home. If you're married, converse with your spouse. Find a plan that the two of you want to have implemented, and then converse with an estate planning attorney. I think people will be so surprised how easy this process is if they actually come and talk to us. We make it simple and streamlined and they'll be really happy.
And you kind of mentioned the will being a good first document to kind of start you off, but what's the difference between a will and a trust? Because I think some people might be confused about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. A will is simply a legal document that expresses your desire of your assets to be transferred at death. So that the transfer doesn't happen until you have died. A trust, on the other hand, is something you create now and you transfer your assets into the trust right now. So the trust becomes the owner of your home so that when you die, no assets are in your estate, they're owned in your trust, and we get to avoid the probate process completely.
Lots of good information here. Like I said, it's a lot of information. So the best thing to probably do is come in, sit down with someone like you to really re-walk you through everything. What's the best way to get in contact with your team?
Visit us on our website, jeffreyburr.com, or give us a call. The phone number here is on the screen.
That's right, jeffreyburr.com for more information. Burke, thanks so much for sharing the best ways for families to really take that first step in securing their futures. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And stay with us. We'll be right back.